Good evening, everybody. Please respond in the chat box if I'm audible. All right. Okay. Okay, great. So guys, today again we have to cover some important current events which appeared in last in the previous 2 to 3 months in our The Hindu. All right, and I thought that first of all we must cover these topics, such kind of topics which we haven't covered yet, and then as you already know, at the end of the session we will again solve certain important MCQs. All right. Okay, so let's get going with the session. So which issues are we going to cover today? First, you must have heard about that India has launched or issued or published its Arctic policy, right? Second is the issue which was in news because of One Ocean Summit, right? And then this project of Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, and Nepal. What concerns are there, and why is the reason that this agreement was only signed between Bangladesh, India, and Nepal, and why did Bhutan kept itself away from signing this agreement? All right, and at the end of it, we'll solve certain important MCQs. All right, sir. So let's begin with the first issue. So before the Arctic policy of India, we must go into the history of Arctic Council. All right. So what is Arctic Council? Guys, Arctic Council was formed and its formation can be traced. Its formation can be traced way back in the year 1991. All right. As a part of which strategy? As a part of Arctic Environmental Protection Strategy. All right. Now, this particular strategy is a framework for what? For intergovernmental cooperation on environment protection initiatives among the Arctic states, including which countries? Very important: Canada, Denmark, Finland, right? Iceland, Norway, Sweden, Russia, United States. Hasika, I have already conveyed the concern to the tech team for the PPTs. Okay. All right. So yes. So in this particular strategy, what we are now calling as AEPS, the idea was to try and consult, to engage the indigenous population, for which Arctic is their homeland. All right. So that their rights could be recognized in their ancestral homelands of the Arctic region. All right. So what happened that in this particular strategy, the indigenous people also formed their own organizations. Like which organizations? The organizations like indigenous people organizations like Inuit. So Inuit Circumpolar Council is there, also called as ICC. Then there is this Sami Council, also called as SC. Then we have Russian indigenous people who have their association in the name of RIPON. Okay, Russian Association of Indigenous Peoples of the North. All right, just have a brief idea about this, that what this strategy was for. So the strategy was the engagement or mediation between the Arctic states and with these indigenous population organizations. All right. So as a consequence of the growing recognition of the special relationship, obviously, of these indigenous people to the Arctic region, given their historical knowledge about the region, the countries assigned special status of the permanent participants to these three important organizations. All right. So just remember that these three organizations of indigenous peoples have been given special status by the Arctic Council as a permanent participants. All right. Now, what else we must know about this? That apart from the Arctic states that I told you, up till now, there have been 13 non-Arctic states, 13 non-Arctic states, which have been given approval as a observer member to Arctic Council. Now, guys, there is no need to remember each and every one of them. But yes, as far as India is concerned, we must remember that in which year India got the observer status for the very first time. So, guys, Republic of India got the observer status in the year 2013 as an outcome of which ministerial meeting of the Arctic Council? Please do remember, the Kiruna ministerial meeting it was in the year 2013 when Republic of India got the observer status to the Arctic Council. All right. So very important fact. Do remember the year and do remember the name of the ministerial conference. All right. Now, let's move ahead. Next, let's try and understand the relationship between India and the Arctic region. So our history with the Arctic Council or the Arctic region, let's say not council, but Arctic region, it begins in the year 1920. All right. It begins in the year 1920, whereby India signed an agreement. India signed not agreement, but a treaty. Okay. And this treaty is called as the Svalbard Treaty. This treaty was, guys, signed at Paris. Please do remember the venue where it was signed. Okay. So it was signed at Paris. Very important. Between which countries? Between, guys, Norway, United States of America, Denmark, France, Italy, Japan, Netherlands, Great Britain, and Ireland. Plus, in addition to that, British overseas dominions and the Sweden concerning a very important region called as Spitsbergen. Please do remember this region, very, very important region. Why is it important? Because Spitsbergen is the largest island. Okay, it is the largest island of the Svalbard archipelago, which is a part of which country? Which is a part of Norway in the Arctic Ocean. This particular island is the only, why it is again important, it is the only permanently inhabited part of Svalbard region where more than 50% of the land is covered in ice year around. So together with the glaciers, mountains, and fjords, it defines the landscape of this particular region. All right. So do remember that in the 1920 Svalbard Treaty was signed at Paris. These were the signatories and ratifiers of this particular treaty, including India. And then we have to remember this particular place called as Spitsbergen, which is a cause of concern for Sweden. And it is the largest island of this archipelago, which is a part of Norway. All right. And it is the only permanently inhabited part of Svalbard. All right. Now let's move ahead. What else we must know about this timeline? So guys, after this, it was the year of 2007 when India launched its Arctic research program. Very important. Okay. We launched our Arctic research program with a focus on the climate change in the region with the objects of studying connection between Arctic climate and Indian monsoon. All right. You must be knowing this fact that India's climatic condition, that is what we call as the monsoonal type of climate, it is one of the most complicated type of you can say climatic regions of the world. All right. So what impact the Arctic climate has or relationship it has with the Indian monsoon? For that very purpose, we launched our research program. So by using the satellite data and estimating the effect on global warming, this program had to cover these main areas. Since then, guys, India has been able to set up an observatory. Very important fact. We have established an observatory in Kongsforden region, which is also called as, guys, what? Please do remember this name. This is called as INDARC. Okay. It is called as INDARC. Very important. So just give me a moment. Just happened. All right. So guys, just give me a moment. All right. Okay. So apart from the Kongsforden, as well as one another atmospheric lab has been established at at Gruvebad region. Okay, so we have to remember these two regions very importantly, And the observatory that we have set up at the Kongsforden region, it is called as India. All right, Ankit, I have already told that the concern of the PPTs I have already conveyed to the tech team. These will be uploaded soon. Okay, don't worry about it. All right, now let's move ahead. So what else we must remember? It was, guys, in the year of 2013 that I already told you, India was first granted the observer status along with 5 other nations. Also, we have to remember this fact. Okay, along with 5 other nations. What else we must remember? 2018 year is very important. Why? Because of 2 reasons. Reason number 1, guys, is that the Ministry of Earth Sciences renamed National Center for Antarctic and Ocean Research. Okay, National Center for Antarctic and Ocean Research to National Center for Polar and Ocean Research. Very important fact. These facts are very, very important for our exams. All right. First thing, what is the second important event of the year 2018? Guys, our arch rival in the global diplomacy, that is China. So People Republic of China, guys, it launched a white paper. Okay, it launched a white paper on the Arctic region, placing its claim in the Arctic region. Okay, why? Because there is this expectancy that due to global warming, by the year 2050, most of the Arctic region will become navigable. And once it becomes navigable, guys, you must have heard about, all of us know about the BRI project, Belt and Road Initiative. So in this we have what? In this we have Maritime Silk Route, right? We have Maritime Silk Route. We have Land Silk Route. Now, guys, what China announced in the year 2018, in its white paper, that we will have a polar or the Arctic Silk Route. Okay, so that's what was the idea of China. All right, so please do remember that China announced the white paper on the Arctic region in the year 2018. Now, guys, it was then, as an outcome of this, what happened, that in the year 2019, our observer status was again retained. So India was re-elected as an observer to the Arctic Council in which year? 2019. Now, apart from our observatories, guys, what else you have to remember? You must remember that India presently has a single station in the name of Himadri in the Ny-Ålesund region of the Svalbard, which is a Norwegian archipelago, where research personnel from India spend mostly around 180 days to study the climatic condition and the exploration and the opportunities and potential of the region. Now, what else India is doing right now? India is in the process of procuring an icebreaker research vessel that can navigate the region. Guys, can you tell me which is the largest icebreaker which was unveiled to navigate the Arctic region? What was the name of that icebreaker? Largest icebreaker. Also, that icebreaker belongs to which country? Please do respond in the chat box. All right. Meanwhile, I'll move ahead with the story. So this is an infographic mentioned in this PPT, whereby you can visually revise the timeline of India's engagement with the Arctic Council. Now, beyond this, according to Ministry of External Affairs, guys, India can play a constructive role in securing a stable Arctic region. Also, the region holds immense geopolitical importance as the Arctic is projected to be ice-free by the year 2050. And there are therefore territorial disputes between the Arctic states in this region. All right. So India can play a very constructive role in this. That's what is our stand in this particular issue. So to play this stable role, what else we must know about India's engagement? Guys, India has had a privileged access to the Arctic Council side events also, in which Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has contributed to what? The Arctic Migratory Birds Initiative. Very important. अब देखो ये टॉपिक कहां पर जा रहा है? Can you guess? ये टॉपिक अब कहां जा रहा है? what can be the next thing that we will be addressing here immediately? So the Arctic Migratory Birds Initiative, you must be knowing about something called as Central Asian Flyway, right? So under the Arctic Council's Conservation of the Arctic Flora and Fauna Working Group, India is conducting this particular initiative. It is a co-participant also. Ministry has also facilitated the studies and the conservation efforts of the migratory birds that fly into India during northern winters. Guys, this topic now shifts to what? Bonn Convention, right? Bonn Convention, Gandhi Nagar Declaration. This declaration emphasized the improvement of ecological connectivity, which should be the highest priority for the Convention on Migratory Species. In February 2020, the Government of India hosted this Convention on Migratory Species under the 13th United Nations Environmental Programme Conference on the parties. So COP13 happened. COP13 happened, right? Please do remember this. So this has a direct bearance on India's Arctic policy. Now come to the specific Arctic policy that the Government of India has recently announced. So it has been released by which ministry? It has been released by Ministry of Earth Sciences. Okay. So what is the idea? What is the objective of this policy? It seeks to combat the climate change. Also, it intends to protect the environment of the region. All right. Also, our Arctic policy is based upon following six central pillars. No need to mug up this, but just have a brief idea. What are the six central pillars of the Arctic policy? First, science and research. Second, environment protection. Third, economic and human development. Fourth, transportation and connectivity. Fifth, governance and international cooperation. And sixth, national capacity building. Guys, can you tell me if the Arctic region, as it is projected, it will become ice free, right? So that means Arctic region will open up the new trade route. Guys, through which project India can have the access to that trade route of the Arctic Ocean? Can you tell me in the chat box? Through which international project, infrastructure project or connectivity project, India might have the direct access to the Arctic region? Please respond in the chat box. Meanwhile, let me move ahead with the policy. So what are the objectives of the Arctic policy? To strengthen national capacities and competencies. हमारा national interest serve होना चाहिए in the field of science and exploration, climate and environmental protection, maritime and economic cooperation with the Arctic region. Very good, Mudit. So anybody else would like to try? Which infrastructure project will provide us the direct access into this region? Very good. So Mudit, Himang, Anshika, Agast, Shashwat, Samriddhi, Nimisha, Siddhak. Very good. Absolutely correct. The project is INSTC. Now, I hope so you are understanding the importance of this particular project that we hold. Okay. Right. So also to strengthen the institutional and human resource capacities for academic research and business institutions, all right, to enhance the understanding of the impact of the climate change. So basically, आपको environment, climate change, science and tech, maritime, economic cooperation, these are the major areas where our Arctic policy has its core objectives, all right. Then obviously, when it will become ice free, so by the virtue it is a marine body, so it will definitely serve as a new source of what? A new source of fossil fuel, guys, right? So it is a very important region for India's energy security. Also, exploitation of mineral wealth, which is possible. Also, the climatology of the polar region, if we study well, then also we can use that study on our Himalayan ecosystem. So Arctic to Himalayas is the core of India's Arctic policy. That's what you have to remember. All right. So these are the major pointers that we must remember about this Arctic policy. What else you should remember? You should remember the PACER initiative. What is this PACER initiative? It is called as, guys, the Polar Science and the Cryosphere Research. Very important. Very important. All right. the Polar Science and the Cryosphere Research Scheme. Now, what is this scheme about? Well, it is a umbrella scheme which comprises of what? Which comprises of, guys, first of all, the Antarctic program of India. Right, we recently learned about the India's Antarctic policy, right? So that policy is under which umbrella initiative, guys? That initiative is called as the PACER initiative. So our Antarctic program, our Arctic program, our Southern Ocean program, and the Cryosphere and the Climate program is implemented under this umbrella scheme. Through which organization, guys? National Center for Polar and Ocean Research, an autonomous institute under which ministry? Ministry of Earth Sciences. Ministry of Earth Sciences. So this scheme has been, its second phase has been approved for continuation from which year, guys? 2021 till the year 2026. So it is a 5-year program. Okay. So it is a 5-year program. All right. So guys, this is what we had to learn, I guess, about this particular issue. Now, can you tell me or answer to me a very simple question? Which of the above countries are not a member, are not the member of Arctic Council? Very easy question. Which of the above countries are not the member of Arctic Council? All right. So Arctic Council, guys, it consists of 8 Arctic states, right? First is Canada, then we have Denmark, Finland, Iceland, Norway, Sweden, Russia, and the US. All right. So which are the odd one out? Which countries are odd one out? First is United Kingdom, right? And the second odd one out is Japan, right? Japan enjoys which status, guys? Japan enjoys the observer status in this particular council. Guys, next question, please answer. The term Ind arc, sometimes seen in news, is the name of what? Very easy question. Ind arc, sometimes seen in the news, is the name of what? Which of the following? All right, so Mudit, Agast, Siddharth, Himang, Ria, Tanmay, Shrestha. Yes, absolutely correct. The answer is India's underwater observatory to scientifically study the Arctic region. Right? All right. Now let's move ahead, guys. So this was about the first issue. Now let's go quickly into the second issue. Motor vehicles agreement. Motor vehicles agreement. Yes, so Archana, Kostovi, Vrinda, Nimisha, Mayank. Yes, everybody has answered correctly. All right. Now come to the motor vehicles agreement. So guys, not going into the much detail, we must keep ourselves to the relevancy of this topic. So what we must remember, first of all, it was in the year 2015 when Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal, these 4 countries signed the BBIN motor vehicles agreement. Now, what is the reason or what is the analogy behind this? Because Bhutan and Nepal both are landlocked countries. First thing. Second thing, why India is a part of this? India is a part of this because of two reasons. Reason number one, India, while by allowing the access to the goods and the vehicles and the transit or the logistic support to Bhutan and Nepal, can deter the influence of China in these two nations. First, reason number one. Reason number two is that India also wants its alternate access into the Bay of Bengal via Bangladesh in case of if the Siliguri corridor of India gets occupied, what we know as the chicken neck corridor, if it gets occupied by China. So India has twofold reasons for this particular motor vehicles agreement. Now, guys, can you tell me in the chat box which multimodal project India is constructing with Myanmar to find an alternative way if in case Siliguri corridor gets occupied by the armed forces of China and our northeastern states get the access to the northeastern states gets blocked. What is the name of that multimodal project? Mudit has already answered. What about others? Very good. So Archana ने भी correct answer किया है. Yes, this is called as the Kaladan multimodal project. Very good, Aryan. Nimisha. Next, you have to tell me, guys, under the Kaladan multimodal project, which major seaport will be connected? We will get access of which major seaport in Myanmar? Very good. So Augusta, Tanmay, Sindhuja, Aishwarya, Shrestha, Siddharth, and Samriddhi. So everybody has answered correctly. Vrinda का answer भी correct है. Again, Mudit का answer आ गया. Very good, Mudit. All right. So आप लोग respond करिए. Meanwhile, I'll move ahead with the story. So World Bank analyzed the pact and said that a trust deficit between the two countries was a major reason why there was no seamless movement of cargo between the two countries. Which two countries World Bank is referring to? It is referring to India and Bangladesh. Okay. Very good. So Tanmay, Archana, Aishwarya, then Shrestha, Aryan, Siddharth, Sindhuja, Nimisha, Agast, and Samriddhi have answered it correctly. Yes, it is the Sitwe port of Myanmar. All right. Next. So do remember this thing, that when this agreement was signed, an adverse remark or an adverse observation was marked by which organization? By World Bank. Next, Bangladesh, India, and Nepal kept moving ahead on this particular agreement as a part of a sub-regional BBIN project, all right, which is called as Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, and Nepal. Now, we know that Bhutan, the officials of Bhutan were present recently in the signing of this agreement as the observer, enjoying the observer status, but they did not sign this agreement. Why? Because Bhutanese parliament has decided not to endorse this plan over their concerns with respect to sustainability and environment. And we know that the sustainability and environment concerns are one of the great concerns of the government of Bhutan, because they count what? They count gross national happiness, right? They are the country in the world, only country in the world, which are doing what? Which are constructing dedicated forest corridors. All right. So what is the premise of this agreement? Well, it is a European Union style, you can say, driving and the entry and exit points in these four countries. That was the intention. All right. So these are some of the important entry and exit points. No need to remember all of them. You can just have a brief overview of these entry and exit points. But what you can remember, that from here, from the eastern side, Guwahati through Shillong will connect the Sylhet region, and from there the transit route will go to Dhaka, and then through Benapole, it will get connected to Kolkata. All right. From northern side, guys, Siliguri, from Bhutan, Phunsaling, right? And from Nepal, the Kakravita region will be connected to Dhaka. And then it will be connected to Agartala of Tripura. And then after that, it will finally through the Sabroom region, this project will end where? At the Chittagong port, at the Chittagong port. All right. So just remember, just try and remember or visualize these nodal places from where this motor vehicle agreement will provide the access. All right. Okay. Now let's move ahead. What are the major gaps? What are the major gaps within this agreement? That also we must keep in our mind. So major gaps that are needed to be addressed in this motor vehicle agreement include what? Inadequate transport infrastructure because of the, you can say, difficult and extreme topology of the region, or not topology, but I'll say the topography of the region. Then the protective tariffs and the non-tariff barriers. Okay, so these facts will help you out if at all CLAT makes an analytical question on the basis of this agreement, which is pretty much expected. All right. So what are the drawbacks? Drawbacks are the lack of the transport infrastructure, then protective tariffs and the non-tariff barriers. Also, it will promote safe, economical, efficient, and environmentally sound road transport in this particular region. Also, Asian Development Bank has openly supported this project as a part of its South Asian Sub-Regional Economic Cooperation Program. All right, so do remember the name of this program. Also do remember the institution which is ready to fund the projects under this particular agreement. So guys, this was about your motor vehicles agreement, the part which was relevant for our exam. Next is, guys, One Ocean Summit. So what is One Ocean Summit? So France hosted the One Planet Summit dedicated to ocean that in turn got called as One Ocean Summit. All right. So please do remember, what was the name of the umbrella summit which was planned by France? It was called as One Planet Summit. Now, because this One Planet Summit was dedicated for ocean, that's why it is being called as One Ocean Summit. What are the aims and goals of this particular summit? The aims and goals were to mobilize the international community to take the concrete action to reduce what? Adverse effects on the ocean, raising its level of ambition on which issues? Maritime issues, right? That means maritime issues under UNCLOS, right? UNCLOS, United Nations Convention on Laws of Seas. Guys, can you tell me, where are the headquarters of UNCLOS situated? Where is the secretariat of UNCLOS situated? Please respond in the chat box. All right. So also it focused on the protection of marine ecosystems and sustainable fisheries. Also fight against the plastic pollution, guys. Plastic pollution. This was on the agenda. Then the impact of the climate change on the marine ecosystems and the oceans of the world, and also to improvise and to make efficient ocean governance. So these were the broader aims and goals. Apart from this, what we must remember, it was this summit held in the context of French presidency. Why France hosted this? What is the reason that France hosted it? The reason was because it was the time of the French presidency of which organization? Very important. The Council of the European Union, with the support of which other organization? United Nations. All right. So it brought together the determined group of head of the states and the government, leaders of multilateral institutions, business personalities, entrepreneurs, industrialists, the civil society policymakers to take ambitious commitments in this regard. Now, guys, next, what are the initiatives? So initiatives in this particular summit were taken in the regime of marine ecosystem protection, sustainable fisheries, plastic pollution, climate change that we already saw. Now, which specific initiatives are we talking about and why this summit is very important? Because of, guys, certain important facts. So there are certain facts and there are certain issues and topics which are beyond our exam perspective. All right. Like 70% of the portion of total freshwater consumption is in which sector in the world? It is in agriculture sector. $125 trillion value of these services provided by the nature every year to the world community. Then 1/3 of the potential contribution of the nature to global climate change mitigation efforts. All right, these are certain interesting facts upon which this summit was based. 2.6 billion tons amount of carbon dioxide is what the forest in the world remove from atmosphere each year. That's why it is very, very important. Then 6,000 plant species that have been cultivated for the food, okay, are present. Then 200 million people who depend on the coral reefs to protect against storm surge and flooding and tsunamis. Okay, so we have to protect this particular ecosystem to protect these directly dependent 200 million people. Then in last 50 years, guys, in last 50 years, more than 60% of the wildlife has already disappeared. More than 18 million acres of forest we lose every year. And then 1/3 of the global fish stocks have been overfished, and the amount of freshwater fishes are already near threatened. Now, guys, can you tell me which is that country in Europe which is actually dumping the huge rock boulders to protect the mechanized or heavy trawling in the marine region? Can you tell me which country is this which is dumping the huge stone boulders to prevent the heavy industrialized and mechanized trawling in the region to protect the marine ecosystem? So please respond in the chat box if you know. All right, so what are the key outcomes of this particular summit that we must remember? So first major outcome is UNESCO. So UNESCO announced that at least 80% of the seabed will be mapped by which year? By the year of 2030. Comparative to what percent mapping of the oceans or seabed has been done? Currently, it is only, we have mapped the 20% of the, you can say, seabed up till now, okay? So UNESCO has planned this in collaboration with the other UN bodies, obviously, and with the involvement of what? With the involvement of the private sector. Please do remember this, all right? UNESCO is the UN agency. Why UNESCO has launched this? Because UNESCO is the UN agency in charge of ocean sciences. Very important fact, okay? It's not UNEP. It's not United Nations Environment Program, but it is UNESCO, which is the UN agency in charge of the ocean sciences. You must also have heard about this fact that on the World Water Day, it was UNESCO and not UNEP which published the World Water Report, right? World Water Report. All right, very good. So Tanmay and Siddharth have already answered the question. Yes, it is United Kingdom. And before that, Aishwarya, Himang, Siddharth, Nimisha, Agastya, Shaswat, and Ria had very correctly answered that UNCLOS is headquartered at Hamburg, Germany. All right. So guys, this we must remember from UNESCO. Next, the Coalition of Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdiction. Please do remember, BBNJ. This initiative underlines the European Union's role. This is an initiative of which organization, guys? European Union. Please do remember. It can come as a direct question in your exam. As the leading actor on what? Global marine conservation. Next, what we must remember? Zero tolerance towards illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing activity. All right. So that's why UK is taking that initiative. All right. Then for addressing the plastic pollution, the European Union has adopted two main priorities. What are its two main priorities? First, decreasing the plastic pollution, and second, accelerating the transition to a circular economy. Guys, can you tell me upon which Rio principles India's plastic policy is based? Please respond in the chat box. Upon which two Rio principles India's plastic policy is based? All right, let's move ahead. So then, apart from these initiatives, a mission with the name Restore Our Ocean and Waters by the year 2030 has been launched. Now, this initiative is a part of what? Is a part of European Green Deal, the same deal according to which European Union committed to become carbon neutral by the year 2050. So it is aimed. So this particular initiative within European Green Deal, it is aimed at developing and testing solutions in support of what? In support of protecting 30% of the European Union sea area, restoring marine and waterway ecosystems, reducing the plastic litter at sea, nutrient losses, and use of the chemical pesticides. Its reduction by what percent? By 50%. All right. And making the blue economy climate neutral and circular. Also, very important. Another initiative has been announced, that European Digital Twin Ocean. What is European Digital Twin Ocean? Very important. Please do remember. So a digital ocean platform will be established to place EU as a digital champion for the oceans. All right. Do remember this. European Union's Digital Twin Ocean program. And then at the end of it, we have European Union for Ocean Coalition. Very, very important. EU for Ocean Coalition program. So this program is intended to fund the ocean literacy programs by education and investing in research and development in this particular field. So very good. So I can see that Siddharth has already answered. So आपने 8 principle बताया सिद्धार्थ. Anybody else would like to try? कौन सा 2 Rio principle है upon which this our India's plastic policy is based? Guys, 1992 is very important for you. Why? 1992 का first Earth Summit है, and you are going to write your exam in the year 2022. How many years that UNCED का conference is observing? That you must keep in your mind. Also, UNCHE, United Nations Conference on Human and Environment, what you know as Stockholm Conference, that happened in the year 1972. 50 years, है ना? So please do focus on those events, conventions, agreements, institutions which are very, very important for us. Like BIMSTEC, guys. BIMSTEC, remember BIMSTEC? BIMSTEC का charter they have signed, है ना? They have signed the charter. Summit कहाँ हुआ? श्रीलंका में. BIMSTEC का establishment कब हुआ, guys? 1997. And we are going to write our exam in 2022. How many years हो गए BIMSTEC को? कितने years हो गए? 25 years. 25 years of BIMSTEC. एक पूरा पैरा का ये पूरा टॉपिक बनता है, पूरा थीम बन जाता है पैरा का, ठीक है, in your CLAT GK section. So please focus on these events. All right, guys. So I guess this was about this particular topic. So guys, in brief, these were the 3 topics that we had to cover today. Now at the end of the session, now we are going to solve certain MCQs. Okay. Now let me just give you the answer, because आप में से बहुत students ने answer किया ही नहीं है about that question that I asked you. So guys, please do remember, India's plastic policy is based upon 2 Rio principles. ये Rio principles कौन से हैं? First Rio principle is what you call as extended producer responsibility. Extended producer responsibility. Don't forget these facts. These are very, very important facts. Okay? Extended producer responsibility. And second is what? So extended producer responsibility is what will appear in any para of your GK section as EPR. Don't expect CLAT to give you the full forms. Okay. So EPR is the first principle. Second principle is what? What we call as PPP. What is PPP? As Siddharth has told already, the polluter pays principle. The polluter pays principle. The polluter pays principle. So these are the 2 important Rio principles. These Rio principles were born in which year, guys? 1992. Same Earth Summit, the first Rio Summit. All right. Okay, guys, can you tell me Rio Plus 20 Summit में एक initiative launch हुआ था? What was the name of that? What was the name of that initiative? Rio Plus 20 में एक initiative launch हुआ था. What was the name of that initiative? हमने last session में, previous session में एक MCQ में उस initiative के बारे में पढ़ा था. Can you tell me in the chat box? What was the name of that initiative? Meanwhile, let me move to the first question. All right. So in the year 2021, it was the month of June when the government of India announced a national mission on use of biomass in coal-based thermal power plants. And again, in this budget, it was in news. So we have to validate these statements on the basis of the national mission on use of biomass in coal-based thermal power plants. Guys, statement number 1 is saying, and you just have to mere apply your logic, okay? So biomass का अगर हम inclusion करेंगे coal based thermal power plants में तो उससे emission reduce होगा, right? So statement 1 is saying to reduce the level. Very good. So Siddharth का आंसर आ गया है. The name of the initiative was PAGE, PAGE, Partnership for Action on Green Economy. 2012 में हुआ था. Very good, very good. All right, now come to this question, guys. Statement number 1, to reduce the level of co-firing of biomass from present 5% to the lower levels. What do you think? Will this be true or false? Will this idea serve the purpose? Very good, Nimisha. It was UN Conference on Sustainable Development, UNCSD. Very good. Guys, statement number 1, please validate quickly. Will reducing the level of co-firing the biomass in these thermal power plants along with coal serve the purpose? Logic लगाइए, logic लगाइए. Biomass का co-firing increase होना चाहिए या reduce होना चाहिए? कार्बन एमिशन रिड्यूस करने के लिए. व्हाट डू यू थिंक? लॉजिक. लॉजिक लगाना है. बायोमास का को-फायरिंग अगर करोगे, अगर बायोमास का को-फायरिंग रिड्यूस करोगे from the present 5% to further lower level, how is it going to help? How is it going to help in reduction of the carbon emission? False है ये. This is false. All right. तो हमें इस पॉलिसी में क्या याद रखना है? Under this national mission, the idea is not to reduce but to increase the co-firing of the biomass. You know, co-firing of the biomass. Guys, again I am telling you, ऐसा जब भी statement based question आ रहा है, apply the logic, read the statement very carefully, ठीक है? आपके पास logic है, hint है और luck है, then also you can solve these questions even if you do not have a prior knowledge of these questions. All right, I'm again telling you, analytical questions, howsoever least probability they have in your GK ka section, but they are the easiest one to solve. Okay, all right, so statement number 1 is false. Guys, what about statement number 2? To facilitate the overcoming of the constraints in the supply chain of the biomass pellets and the agro residue, will this be true or false? Absolutely true. Logical लग रहा है, right? बायोमास का इसका जो सप्लाई चेन है, इसको इंप्रोवाइज करना है. जितना ज्यादा बायोमास का हमारे पास सप्लाई होगा, उतना ज्यादा हम यहाँ पर को फायरिंग बढ़ा पाएंगे, राइट? सो इसका आंसर क्या हो जाएगा? The only correct statement is 2. So option number B becomes the right answer. Clear हो गया? Okay. So this was about this question, guys. Let's move to the next one. Hope so this you will find very easy. So कुछ easy questions भी डाले हैं. देखो, इसका तो मुझे correct answer बताओ ऑप्शन में. इसका तो मैं स्टेटमेंट भी नहीं पूछूंगा कि वैलिडेट करिए आप. मुझे सीधा आंसर बताओ, क्या आंसर है इसका? Which of the above statements are correct? ऑलराइट, इसमें ऑप्शंस आर मिसप्लेस्ड. चलो फिर भी इसमें आपको आंसर तो मिल ही जाएगा अपना. ये टाइपो हो गया है, सो इग्नोर दिस। उसके हिसाब से भी है ना उसके हिसाब से भी आंसर क्या बनता है हमारा 1 and 2 है ना, बोथ आर करेक्ट। ओके, सो थीम भी याद रखना है हमें। अच्छा, नाउ यू हैव टू टेल मी ऑन दिस वुमेन डे, वर्ल्ड वुमेन डे, ऑन दिस वर्ल्ड वुमेन डे which initiative was launched, which initiative was launched for supporting the, in support of the women by government of India? कौन सा इनिशिएटिव लॉन्च कर रहे हैं हमने ऑन दिस पर्टिकुलर डे 8th of March? मुझे इनिशिएटिव का नाम बताइए एंड आई एम मूविंग टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन। वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन, दीज आर बाउंसर क्वेश्चंस, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। Guys, I am waiting in the chat box. I need to know the name of that initiative which was launched on. Very good. So Karuvi, then we have Shaswat. Who else will respond? It is Stree Manoraksha program. Stree Manoraksha program. Very good. All right, guys. So with reference to the temporary protection directive, which was recently in news, please validate these statements. First, the temporary protection directive was created in 1945. All right, so Nimisha, Aishwarya and Siddharth का भी आंसर करेक्ट है। It was Stree Manoraksha project. हाँ जी, ये बताइए, the temporary protection directive was created in the year 1945. देखो, I think you must have not heard about it. Now let me tell you, ये temporary protection directive, this particular directive was not created in the year 1945. What is this? Well, actually it is European Union's temporary plan. Okay, it is European Union's temporary plan for what? Temporary plan for the rehabilitation of non-EU immigrants. ठीक है, नॉन यूरोपियन यूनियन इमिग्रेंट्स, नॉन यूरोपियन जो इमिग्रेंट्स यूरोपियन बॉर्डर्स पर आते हैं, ठीक है, बिकॉज ऑफ एनी इशू, ठीक है, बिकॉज ऑफ एनी इशू। वेरी गुड अक्षर, लॉजिक भी लगा देते तो है ना, अगर बस इतना पता होता कि मतलब ईयू है, ये ईयू का इनिशिएटिव है, तो 1945 देखकर ही ये इनकरेक्ट हो जाता, राइट। ऑलराइट, सो ये प्लान क्या है, इसमें नॉन ईयू इमिग्रेंट्स के लिए मेडिकेयर का फैसिलिटी है ना, जो चिल्ड्रन है उनके लिए एजुकेशन का फैसिलिटी, फूड सप्लाईज, ऑल्सो द अकोमोडेशन फैसिलिटी। सो ऐसे करके इन्होंने एक प्लान बनाया, ठीक है। एंड ये जो प्लान है, दिस प्लान इफ एक्टिवेटेड, इफ इन्वोक्ड, सो इसका जो टाइमलाइन है गाइस, इट इज between 1 to 3 years. Please do remember this. Once invoked, the idea is to provide these necessary essential facilities to the non-EU immigrants or refugees, okay, in for between 1 to 3 years, है ना। Now can you tell me, this temporary protection directive was announced in which year? This was announced in which year? If anybody has any idea. So European Union planned this particular directive in which year? It was the same year when NATO invoked Article 5 for the very first time. Guys, क्या हो जाएगा? शाश्वत, ये पोलैंड बेलारूस के कंटेक्स्ट में नहीं आया है क्वेश्चन, ये एक्चुअली रशिया यूक्रेन क्राइसिस के रेफरेंस में आया है, बिकॉज इन द फर्स्ट वीक इटसेल्फ मिलियंस एंड मिलियंस ऑफ यूक्रेनियंस, ठीक है, they sought refuge inside European countries. ऑलराइट, सो ईयर क्या हो जाएगा गाइस? 2001. ओके, सो ये प्लान कब बनाया था यूरोपियन यूनियन ने? 2001 में. ओके, 2001. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, प्लीज डू रिमेंबर दिस. अच्छा, इसके बाद व्हाट एल्स यू हैव टू रिमेंबर? नेक्स्ट थिंग, नेक्स्ट स्टेटमेंट जो हमने वैलिडेट करना है, दैट इज इट हैज बीन इन्वोक्ड 3 टाइम्स सिंस द सेकंड वर्ल्ड वॉर. अब ये सेकंड वर्ल्ड वॉर ही आ गया, तो यहां पर ये इनकरेक्ट हो गया, ये पूरा स्टेटमेंट ही फॉल्स हो गया. ठीक है, आपको क्या याद रखना है? दिस पर्टिकुलरली टेम्पररी प्रोटेक्शन डायरेक्टिव was first invoked in the ongoing Russia Ukraine crisis. अभी ongoing Russia Ukraine crisis में इसको पहली बार, for the very first time, European Union has invoked this. Guys, hope so you got it. Clear? So do remember the temporary protection directive issued in 2001 to accommodate, to facilitate the needs of the non-EU immigrants or refugees, first invoked in the year 2022 for the very first time. So answer क्या हो जाएगा? Both statements are false, so neither one nor two. Option number D is the correct answer. All right, now let's move to the next question guys. Very easy question. Hope so ये तो आप बहुत easily solve कर दोगे. इसका मुझे आंसर बताओ सीधे. Just tell me the answer with reference to UPI 123 pay. Just tell me the answer of this question. I'm not going into the validation of these statements. It is a very, very easy and cheesy question. Very good. So Karvi ने पहले ही आंसर कर दिया है, and answer is absolutely correct. एक ही करेक्ट आंसर मिला मुझे अभी तक. अक्षत, देन अली, देन अगस्त, शाश्वत, सिद्धक, तन्मय, आप सबका आंसर इनकरेक्ट है. निमिषा, ऑल ऑफ यू गॉट इट रॉन्ग. व्हाट इज यूपीआई 123 पे? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल ये तो हमें पता ही है, इट हैज बीन लॉन्च्ड नॉट बाय एसबीआई बट बाय आरबीआई, रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया, है ना, रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया. दैट मेक्स स्टेटमेंट नंबर 1 फॉल्स. स्टेटमेंट नंबर 2 में क्या मिस्टेक है? दिस इनिशिएटिव इज नॉट फॉर स्मार्टफोन मोबाइल सब्सक्राइबर्स, रादर दिस initiative is to help out feature phone subscribers. Feature phones. What are feature phones? Those feature phones which do not have what? Which do not have internet connection. So UPI 123 पे उन लोगों के लिए है जिनके पास स्मार्टफोन्स नहीं है. ठीक है, स्मार्टफोन्स नहीं है, इंस्टेड उनके पास क्या है? फीचर फोन है, बहुत बेसिक सा फोन है जिसमें इंटरनेट कनेक्शन भी नहीं है. Got it guys? So क्या आंसर हो जाएगा इसका? What will be the correct answer? Now if you can respond. Like Nokia 3310, right? Exactly. Okay. वेरी गुड. सो अब आ गए हमारे करेक्ट आंसर्स, राइट. अगेन मैंने क्या बोला था आपको? ऐसा स्टेटमेंट बेस्ड क्वेश्चन हमें क्या करना है? इसको केयरफुली रीड करना है, इंटेंशन समझनी है, लॉजिक लगाना है ना. जब लॉजिक लगाएंगे तो अपने आप हमारे आंसर्स करेक्ट होने लग जाएंगे. ऑलराइट, सो डी फॉर दिल्ली इज द करेक्ट आंसर. नन ऑफ द अबव आर द करेक्ट स्टेटमेंट्स. ऑलराइट गाइस, लेट्स मूव टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन, वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन गाइस. इसमें स्टेटमेंट बाय स्टेटमेंट चलते हैं. टेल मी whether the statement number 1 is correct or not with reference to Jammu and Kashmir Delimitation Commission. It is headed by a retired Chief Justice of Jammu and Kashmir High Court. True or false? हाँ जी, delimitation commission of Jammu and Kashmir, headed by retired Chief Justice of Jammu and Kashmir High Court, Tanmay and Nimisha and Ria, then Agast, then Ishika. All of you have got it wrong. Whereas Aishwarya, Siddhak, Ali have got it right. Can you tell me who is heading this? Who headed this Jammu Kashmir Delimitation Commission? What is the name of that person? Head of Jammu and Kashmir Delimitation Commission. What is the name? Ranjana Prakash Desai. Who is Ranjana Prakash Desai? Former Supreme Court judge. All right. Ranjana Prakash Desai, former Supreme Court judge, is heading Jammu Kashmir Delimitation Commission. Statement 1 is false. Guys, statement number 2, please validate. This Delimitation Commission has used the census data of 2001 for the delimitation exercise. True or false? हाँ जी, एब्सोल्युटली फॉल्स. किस ईयर का सेंसस पिक किया हमने? 2011. Census of 2011 has been picked or referred to for this delimitation exercise. Guys, statement number 3. So first false हो गया, second false हो गया. Let's see if the third false होता है या true होता है. So this is the first time scheduled tribes are being given representation in legislative assembly of the state via reservation. Guys, statement number 3, true or false? Very good. So Akshat का आंसर करेक्ट आ गया. Then Agast, Tanmay, Mudit, absolutely correct. Ali, Ria, Siddhak, absolutely correct. This is absolutely correct. How many seats, guys? How many seats have been reserved for scheduled tribes? जल्दी से बता दो chat box में. How many seats have been reserved? So answer इसका क्या हो गया? 3 only. Option number A. How many seats for scheduled tribes? How many seats for scheduled caste? Just respond in the chat box. दोनों की seats लिख दो बस. Short में लिख दो ST, उसके आगे लिख दो number of seat. मुदित का आंसर आ गया absolutely correct. And short में लिख दो SC और उसके सामने लिख दो number of seats. All right. And then meanwhile, let me move to some easy questions again. Very good. So Mudit, Aishwarya, Aditi, Shrestha, Tanmay, Shashwat, absolutely correct answer. Aryan and Ali. Right, Siddharth. Exactly. है ना? Okay. Okay. All right. So 9 seats have been reserved for scheduled tribes for the very first time in the legislature of Jammu Kashmir, and we have 7 seats reserved for scheduled castes. All right. Now come to this question, guys. Very easy question, very cheesy question. Which of the following is the first country to successfully shoot down drones with iron beam laser interceptors? और कौन हो सकता है? एक ही community है world में, which is the most innovative community, always ahead in the innovations. It is Israel. Option number B, है ना? Option number B, Israel. Yes, exactly. चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं. Next, very important update. Recent update. In April 2022, which of the following countries became the 30th country to join the India-backed CDRI initiative, the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure? Guys, the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. Yes, best EQ plus IQ for Jews, right? Anji, what is the right answer to this? So Tanmay, then Agastya, then H Khan, Devansh, Aditi, Manya ने करेक्ट आंसर दिया। Guys, it is Madagascar. Madagascar is the 30th country to join the coalition for disaster resilient infrastructure. Okay, answer is option number D. Option number D. Please do remember this fact, very important fact. Okay, option number, हाँ recently news में था, I guess ये 6th of April का update है, if I am not wrong. All right, do we have another question? Yes, again, which of the following nation has signed an MOU with India in decentralized domestic wastewater management? Yes, Siddharth, yes, I saw that. You gave the right answer. Right? Okay, बताइए. Let me give you a hint. This country recently signed 6 agreements. This country recently signed 6 agreements with the government of India. इससे बड़ा हिंट नहीं दे सकता मैं. 6 agreements sign किए इस country ने with India, and next 5 years में 5 trillion what? So answer is what? Answer is Japan. 5 year में कितना trillion yen? 5 trillion yen. All right, next, I guess this is the last question for today. What is the name of official match ball for upcoming FIFA Qatar World Cup 2022? Hope so ये तो सभी आंसर कर देंगे. What is the name of the official match ball for upcoming FIFA Qatar World Cup 2022? Guys, is it Al Rihala? Is it Abid? Is it Al Afia? Or is it Al Razin? If anybody has any idea about this question. All right, so first correct answer I got from Aishwarya, then from Akshat, Ali, Siddhak, Shrestha, Agast, Ishika, and Srishti. Exactly. The answer is Al Rihala. Okay, so Al Rihala is the name of the official match ball. Guys, which sports company is sponsoring this? कौन सा sports company है? मुदित करवी and शशिकांत का भी आंसर करेक्ट है. हाँ जी, नेम ऑफ द sporting company. Nimisha, Devansh, yes, absolutely correct. Now tell me the name of the sports company, the brand which is endorsing this ball. Very good. It is, yes, it is Adidas, right? So Agastya, Aishwarya, Aditi, निमिषा, yes, आप सबका आंसर एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट है. So guys, Shrestha, Aishwarya, Devansh, Siddharth, then Karvi, then Srishti, Mudit. Yes, absolutely correct. So guys, with this, we come to the end of today's session. Hope so you enjoyed the session. Hope so you found the session informative. We'll see you in another such session with another set of important issues as per our exam relevancy. We will discuss, and at the end of it, we will again solve certain important MCQs. So thank you so much, everybody. See you in the next session. Stay safe, keep revising, and all the best for your preparation. Good night, guys.